week 8 in the books or coming up. I forget how week 8 coming up.
Yep.
All right. Just fresh off of rivalry week. I'll begin today with I spared you by being on vacation the last time that Tim and I were the top 2 teams in the league. You didn't have to listen to us talk. It happened again. Here we are. It's the Shazer Fantasy League.
I guess so. I don't know what to make of it. But maybe that explains why nobody else is saying anything and everybody's upset about football.
Well, it was a challenging week. A lot of injuries, a lot of low scores. Godwin's out for the rest of the year. Mike Evans gone until after bye. Ayuk gone for the rest of the year. He was bad anyway. But a lot of big injuries.
Jaden Daniels.
Well, let's hold on there. Good thing I have 2 quarterbacks. But let's get into rivalry week. We begin with the winners. That, of course, is me. I'm a winner.
Not a fluke.
Not a fluke. Jaden Daniels went down after scoring 5 points in the first drive and then sustaining a rib injury, or 5 fantasy points. I got lucky and streamed a pretty good defense with the Rams. 17 points there, helped out quite a bit. And then mostly I just played Wes.
It did not take much to beat Wes's team. Yikes.
I called it. This team stinks. I was looking at the points for, which is something that I've complained about with my teams for many, many years now. And I believe I have the least amount of points against me or the second least.
The universe has corrected itself.
It also helps that I played West 2 weeks in a row. So I will say that.
It's so bad that he made a ridiculous trade that we'll get to later.
Yeah, we'll get to that in between the weeks here. Ross pulls out a victory.
The gritty
84 over Sam. He had a good game from DK Metcalf. That was about it. Drake London was all right. But other than that, again, he just ended up playing Sam, who did not score a lot of points.
He streamed the Tampa Bay tight end who got him 14 points. That's always nice.
K-Dot, a favorite of fantasy football podcasts everywhere, because all there really is to talk about when it comes to that section of the podcast, when it comes to tight ends, is which ones to pick up off of waivers. He's kind of a sexy pick that always gets thrown around. Drew puts a pounding onto Nathan. Huge game again from Baker Mayfield. Just a dominating force in the fantasy football world. He ended up losing that game, but he is the second-ranked quarterback in fantasy football.
Unbelievable.
Baker Mayfield. Kenneth Walker had a good game, and Tank Bigsby playing well over in London.
Yeah. Drew's good. Drew's very good. It's scary. Not much for rivalry there.
No. Tom takes down Lucas pretty handily, beat him by almost 40 points.
Yeah.
Tom had a good game from Jared Goff. Saquon Barkley was great. Saquon could have had even more points. I think he got taken out in the third quarter.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Javonte Williams had a big game, and that made up for Cortland Sutton having 0 points.
Dicker the kicker had 21 points.
That is true. Yep. Huge game. And Stefan, humongous game.
Biggest winner of the week.
131 points. Lamar Jackson, who I would assume is the number 1 quarterback in fantasy.
Yes.
Najee Harris had a good game, and then Jahmyr Gibbs benefited that Montgomery went out with an injury. I think he's coming back this week, but he was out for that game with an injury.
Yes, I regret trading Jahmyr Gibbs, and if the Lions decided to just play Jahmyr Gibbs all the time, I feel like he would be the number one running back. But for some reason, they like their committee, and I guess that makes Jahmyr Gibbs not have monster weeks. But this week showed that he can be a true number one if he really wanted to be.
For 1 week. I mean, he could be like a Devon Achane, where
I don't know. I watched that game. He was pretty unstoppable.
Deebo Samuel left because he had a actual illness. He was not injured. He got released from the hospital with pneumonia. Amari Cooper had a fine game in his first game in Buffalo.
Yep. That's a nice boost.
Oh, there's another wide receiver who potentially will be getting a boost, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, Tim, you were the winner against Libby by 18 points. Big game from Joe Mixon in a losing effort to the Packers.
But he was out for a few weeks, so it was nice to have him back.
Kareem Hunt
finally
was the entire Chiefs offense.
Worth every penny of the $41 I spent for him on waivers.
Watching the Chiefs is the single most frustrating thing because Patrick Mahomes is like bad, but not bad. He had 150 yards, no touchdowns,
but then 2 rushing interceptions.
1 rushing touchdown.
And 1 rushing touchdown. Okay, yeah, his stat line was pretty bad, which is why I'm surprised that Ross still won.
But Kareem Hunt had 12 carries, 40 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the Chiefs won by 15 points.
Yeah, the Chiefs are very annoying in that Mahomes can have a bad game and just not look good, and they'll still.
He's the 22nd ranked quarterback in fantasy football. He's terrible.
And yet they're still undefeated, and it doesn't matter.
In a 12-team league, you could almost start 12 other players that should be on waivers before you would start Patrick Mahomes.
It's kind of like the Tom Brady effect almost, because Tom Brady was kind of like that, where he was obviously the best quarterback in the NFL for a while, but not necessarily the best fantasy quarterback unless it's the year where he had Randy Moss and they went off. But other than that, he was pretty game managery for the Patriots for a while. And it feels like Mahomes is similar.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. They just can't lose. Losers, Wes, humongous loser. Just the worst loser. Kirk Cousins, terrible. Bijan Robinson, good. Jordan Mason, no longer on his team. Christian McCaffrey, no longer on his team.
Tyler Vikings defense salvaged a pretty bad day by getting a touchdown at the end. Otherwise, they would have been bad too.
Started Josh Downs when Flacco wasn't the quarterback. Horrible idea. 0.8 points. Left Keon Coleman on the bench. A bunch of mismanagement. It kind of asks you, is Wes even paying attention this year?
I would say the same thing about Nathan. I don't think Nathan has checked his team once yet this year.
Sam, another loser for the week. Kyler Murray had a solid game. A.J. Brown, a solid game. Romeo Dobbs. Everyone else, pretty bad. He's spot started Emmanuel Wilson, which probably not a great idea.
Not what you want.
But Travis Etienne isn't playing, and he had other guys on bye, including his number 1 running back, or number 2 running back, I suppose, Roshan Johnson, who happened to be on a bye week, even though he's not the number 1 running back on his own team.
Yeah, it's not good for Sam.
Yeah, our other knock, are you there guy, Nathan?
Yeah.
Brock Purdy, kind of a weird bad game. He's been really good this whole year. Kyron Williams, probably the most consistent running back in fantasy football. Just almost just pencil him in for 20 points every week.
Yes.
Chuba Hubbard, the Panthers are really bad. I had somebody in my other league trying to trade me Panthers players. I'm like, so what?
Are you doing? What are you doing? And they're going back to Bryce Wilson now because Andy Dalton got in a car accident. So that should be fun.
Yeah. Even though Bryce Wilson's not his name.
Oh, Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Bryce Wilson is the relief pitcher for the Brewers. If any of my Brewers fans are out there, I got it mixed up.
Speaking of Breece Hall,
Great
you left on the
segue.
bench. You left on the bench.
Yeah,
scored 23 points.
That alone, I'm not sure what he's doing there. I don't think he's actually checking his team. Why would you put Tyreek in your flex when you could have put Breece in your flex?
I don't know.
I can't make that one make sense.
He gave up. I still ranked him decently high in the power rankings too. I don't know why I did that. Lucas, who we gave a bunch of love to in the previous couple weeks, he was rising up the power rankings, and then lays a turd.
At least Derrick Henry played well. 24 points.
Derrick Henry has been amazing this year. But Trey Sermon was not the right pick for the Indiana running back. I had Goodson sitting on my bench. He was the right pick. He had 11 points. Stephon Diggs had an off week. Devontae Adams, I don't know why you were going to start him in his first week with the Jets, but he went for it. Bad. Travis Kelce, terrible.
We already talked about the Chiefs offense, and Travis Kelce is the same way. I'm a frustrated Jonathan Taylor owner in another league because I literally don't know what's going on with him. So it sucks to have to try to figure out what to do and who to play instead of him.
I have him in my other league, and I grabbed Goodson. I had Sermon the week that he was good, and then did Goodson the last 2 weeks and got lucky on that. That's very frustrating. Who was the top guy this week in waiver? Was it Hopkins?
Yeah, I think so. There was
I was
somebody
surprised
else
that he was on the waiver wire. If you would have told me that, I would have thought he was on somebody's team. I didn't even look. I don't even think I looked for him.
I checked this morning, and I was surprised to see it too, but it looks like a few people bet on him, so clearly it was just ignorance on our part.
Yeah. Seth had an all right game. Still scored over 100 points, but happened to be playing Stefan. Any big games? Josh Jacobs, Jordan Love. So he picked the right Green Bay running back because he's the starter.
Yes.
And then played the Bengals defense against Cleveland and grabbed 15 points there. Left Pickens on his bench, who had 19 points, and decided to start Tank Dell, who had 0. Still wouldn't have mattered, but it would have looked a little bit better on the score sheet.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Libby, 102 points. Josh Allen's still very good. Amon-Ra is awesome. T. Higgins is heating up now that he's back and rolling. Weirdly, didn't start Aaron Jones. Did he not want to cheer for Aaron Jones against the Lions?
I wasn't sure what was going on there either because Aaron Jones was questionable all week, but I think it was clear like on Saturday that he was going to play. But maybe I understand starting David Montgomery, but I would have started him over Ramondre for sure. But yeah, maybe he was going for some vibes, Lions vibes, which worked, sort of.
It did. Jameson Williams suspended for 2 games for performance-enhancing drugs.
Hey, but he didn't do it, just like everybody else who tests positive. Hey. Oh, I don't know what I put in my body. I would never.
It's my trainer. All right, let's take a look at this trade.
I don't know. I'm so confused by it. I don't know what to make of it.
This is a cluster of activity. Essentially, it's Christian McCaffrey for James Cook.
Who is coming? Christian McCaffrey is rumored to be coming back week 10. Is that what I heard?
I mean, they say that, but I think Shanahan's also been like, he's not as healthy as we think he is either.
Well, yeah. Is it like both of his Achilles are acting up and he went to Germany to get like an independent something or other? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not what you want to hear.
Christian McCaffrey is a very handsome man. They always show him on the sidelines, and I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah, it's true. He's got that square football jaw.
Yeah. Tyler Lockett's also in there. Xavier Worthy, Chris Olave. Chris Olave hasn't been very well. He's been good when he plays, but whatever.
And Xavier Worthy's been okay, but with DeAndre Hopkins coming to the Chiefs and their offense not really that dominant, I don't know.
I think Juju got hurt too.
Yeah.
So maybe Hopkins plays the one. Xavier Worthy can kind of do more of his weird be fast routes.
I do. If I were Drew, he must be thinking he's got Ken Walker, who's playing very well for him, which makes James Cook expendable enough where you can take a flyer on what if Christian McCaffrey does come back and is really good. And Wes was just looking to move on. And also you can have Tyler Lockett because you're a Seahawks fan. That's my take on the trade overall.
Yeah. I don't think it helps Wes. I think it maybe helps Drew come playoff time, but that's about my only read on it.
If I'm channeling my inner Wes, which you don't want to do, but it's like I hate my team so much that I just want it to look a little different. So I'm just going to make this trade.
Tired of looking at the same thing every week. Do we want to do the power? Do we do the power rankings or do we do
the power rankings before the look ahead?
All right.
This is the procedure.
I don't know how this show works anymore.
It's all right. It's not that much of a well-run machine. All right, let me just grab it here. Not that it matters because it feels like it hasn't changed much in the past couple weeks, and yeah, but here it is.
Yeah, Ross stays at the bottom. He did win this week, so Sam could have swapped to the bottom. I don't know. I really kind of wanted to put Wes there too, but the records kind of, Sam and Ross being the 2 and 5 teams. I had to leave them at the bottom.
And especially for rivalry week, we always consider the Sam and Ross rivalry as like they're at the top of the league and they're duking it out. But last week they're both at the bottom of the league, and it's just who's going to suck more. And they both kind of sucked.
Yeah, pretty bad. Wes is terrible. Tom has been kind of scrappy. So, I mean, he could be slowly moving his way up. Seth and Stefan I stared at for a good 5 minutes because I cannot figure out which one of those teams is better, and then if those teams are actually good.
I like the putting Stefan above Seth. I think Stefan, especially after the week he had last week, if we're talking true power rankings, I think he gets the slight bump.
I had a lot of confidence in Lucas. Obviously, ranking him as high as I did, I had to drop him. He scored, 70 points? So it's not good. Nathan, I hate where he's at here. Man, I should have just put Nathan at 12.
We could rank Nathan 57th, and I don't think he would notice.
I have no idea. We could remove him from the league.
We could.
On the bye week. I had a little bit of back and forth with Drew and Libby, but at the end of the day, I think Libby deserves that 3 spot. In the playoff projections, Libby is at a 92% for making the playoffs, and Drew somehow is only at 81%. So the computer does not believe in Drew.
I love the ESPN playoff projections. I have no idea what goes into that algorithm.
I love it, though, because it helps me make my decisions. So I'm like, all right,
there you go.
When I look at these two teams side by side, I still think Libby's team is better. But Drew's always projected for a decent amount of points. So
I don't think Libby's ever had a bad week. I think he just will play teams that just
he'll run
points.
Yeah, he'll run into you, basically.
That's true. I think I've beaten him twice already.
Yeah. You technically, you have the edge on me with points 4, but I have a 4-game winning streak. So I will retain the top spot. But it's it's going to be a back and forth for the rest of the year here.
Yeah. It's weird to be consistently towards the top of the league, probably for both of us actually, because we've both been pretty bad the past couple of years. So this is different, and it's been fun, sort of.
I got to see when we play next. We play Never Again.
Really?
Never Again.
Okay. See you in the playoffs then.
We played each other? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
I lost by almost 30 points.
Yeah. If we're moving on to the matchups for this week, I am playing Drew. So if this is a prove it week for Drew, if he wants to unseat me and maybe crack into the top 3, this could be his week.
That's probably the best game from the top because I play Ross. So
okay. Well,
I could get knocked off by the bottom guy. Projections aren't super crazy, but currently having to start Caleb Williams. But now I have 3 running backs. Because Chubb came in and ran for 20 yards but scored a touchdown.
Got a touchdown. Yeah, it was a good play. I'm curious to see how Caleb Williams will do for you because he's been okay, but maybe now once he goes into your lineup, maybe this is where he goes back down a bit.
Hopefully it's just a spot start. Yeah, so
Jaden Daniels could still play,
Jaden
right?
Will come back. Yes. He did not practice yesterday or today. So I think he has to practice tomorrow or he'll definitely be out. But who knows? I still will probably play Caleb even if Jaden is healthy because I think Caleb going against Washington's defense is a little bit better. The Bears defense is pretty solid.
Yep.
So me versus Ross, Tom versus Stefan. Pretty solid game. Stefan's projected to beat him by 24 points, but you never know. I think Stefan's going to end up being a top 5 team.
I agree.
By the end of the year. Yeah. I mean,
Lamar Jackson's playing so well, and that really helps.
Speaking of the 2 owners that just out of it, Wes versus Nathan. Nobody cares.
It's a hate watch matchup.
Yeah. Lucas is playing
Seth.
There you go. That should be a pretty good game.
I think so. They're both of these teams are inconsistent, but are potentially good. So that's what makes it interesting to watch.
Tua's coming back, so maybe Achane, maybe the Dolphins start producing again on offense. So it's got Achane. Stroud can't play as bad as he did last week. We'll see if he decides to start him or Love. He made the right decision last week. So we'll see if Seth can do that again. Libby plays Sam. Usually a fun matchup. This time, I think Libby will probably dominate. And then,
put Aaron Jones in your starting lineup, Libby. He's playing tonight, just so you know.
He's the second highest projected player. Once again, I do have to say that it is just a pleasure having Justin Jefferson on my team. He's just rock solid every week that he plays. 14
He's had a good
to 18
season for
points. I got him from relatively cheap for a top wide receiver. I love it.
The only thing that stops you is an injury. That's the only reason he wouldn't be good.
Yeah. We'll see how Garrett Wilson does with some more people in the wide receiver core for the Jets. The Jets are terrible. Also, Garrett Wilson had that pass slam off of his chest and get intercepted. That was maybe the worst play of the week.
He's just intimidated by Devontae.
I don't know what's going on. The Packers sold as perfectly as you could on both Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
That's true.
Well, I suppose Favre went to the NFC Championship game with the Vikings.
Don't remind me. But yes, he
lost to
almost
the
had a Super Bowl.
Super Bowl champions.
Who were cheating?
Well, were they cheating?
And Favre had Parkinson's.
Undiagnosed at the time. He's going to get out of defrauding the state of Mississippi because he has Parkinson's.
I know. Hey, that's a gunslinger move. He's just.
Did you send those texts? I don't know. Don't remember.
Oh man.
All right. Well, that's all I got. That's fantasy football. I'm on top. I was just watching the Del Mar get saved part from Oh Brother Where Art Thou, because that's how I feel right now, being at the top of the fantasy league. I've washed all weird. My sins away. All my fantasy sins I've washed away. It's
at this
straight
time,
and narrow for me now.
At this time, I'm usually like looking for a trade or looking at the free agency wire, but I look at my lineup and I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need to do anything. This is weird. I don't need to make any trades.
I still help myself out by having to get a new defense every single week. So I keep my mind occupied by doing that. Other than that, I basically just start the same guys every week.
No tinkering needed.
Every week I'm like, is Brian Robinson actually good? And then by the third quarter, he has 15 points and okay.
Right. Yeah, it's easy.
That's all right. We're good.
Yeah, fantasy football is really easy. Who knew?
Yeah, man, all those other years of injuries halfway through, all that sort of stuff, taking risks on guys. I already have like my guys that I'm going to have for keeper next year all set up. I got nothing to worry about.
No, it is. It's so straight and narrow from here on out.
And washed away all my sins. God or man ain't got nothing on me now. You robbed the Piggly Wiggly? Well, I lied about
that. You watching Rises this week? Are you doing Rises?
Yeah, I'm halfway through currently because I don't have any work to do. So I'm getting that watch done because I can't really do it in the afternoon because Rebecca's not interested in watching those movies with me.
Tough.
Rises. Spoiler alert: Chris does not like Rises, so it's going to be a drag out bare knuckle fight. Libby was supposed to come on. He was going to guest on that episode and help me out. Scheduling didn't work out, so I drafted someone else who should be able to help me out on that. But he's more of a wild card, so. Maybe going 2 against 1 at some point if he watches the movie on Friday night and ends up hating it. And then our brother James Shazer will
he's
be
doing the
on
okay.
The Batman.
I had a feeling
He is somehow the biggest The Batman Matt Reeves movie fan of all time. He loves the Penguin. He walks around like Elijah in the wilderness or John the Baptist in the wilderness, preaching the gospel of the Penguin as the greatest show of all time. He's reading the comic book that the Batman was adapted from. And I might not even have to talk on that podcast. I think James is just going to go for an hour and 45 minutes straight.
He likes Andor, so just take that for what you will, for what his taste is.
Andor is the only good Star Wars TV show.
That should be fun. The Reeves one was okay. I'd be curious to see how the discourse goes.
I don't remember a gosh darn thing about it. So I'll be interested to see what I actually think. I don't know. Rises rocks. It's the greatest movie ever made. It just edges out like Godfather Part 2 is one of the greatest sequels of all time. So I don't know. When I rate it better than The Dark Knight, don't be surprised.
I'm looking forward to it.
10 out of 10. My only quibble would be not enough Bane.
Oh.
His voice is too understandable now that it's the 10th time that I've watched the movie. I can understand all of his lines. I need more lines that I have to dissect. All right. Football. 1 and 2. All the way. Hopefully we meet in the championship. What a year.
Football.